Welcome to my YouTube channel, Vastu Creations. Today we're going to look at the chart of very famous, my favorite actress, Julia Roberts. If you look to the eastern horizon when she was born, you would see that the constellation associated with Saturn, Cancer, was rising at 4 degrees. Any planets that are within 5 degrees of that 5-degree rising, 4-degree rising, like Jupiter, the nodes of the moon, Rahu and Ketu, have a lot of impact in the chart, as well as moon. So first we're going to see how the planets are operating, and then we'll look at the timing of events, when they're operating, and what we could do to strengthen the chart. So first we want to see where the Multikona signs fall. And the Multikona signs are 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, and 11. And these show what this person's karma is that's being worked out in this lifetime. So you see the first sign of Aries, ruled by Mars, in the 10th house. So she's working on her career, perfecting her acting abilities, feeling worthy of being a great actress. Then you see the fourth sign of Cancer in her first house, her rising sign, ruled by Moon. And so that's, again, worthy of doing what she came here to do, her life purpose. And then we see the fifth sign of Leo, ruled by Sun, in the second house. Second house has to do with wealth and fame, being worthy of having recognition and fame and wealth, as well as having a stable marriage. Then we have the sixth sign of Virgo, ruled by Mercury, in the third house. So feeling worthy of being successful in the fine arts, performing arts, and healing arts. Then we have the seventh sign of Libra, ruled by Venus, in the fourth house. So feeling worthy of being happy, of having a happy, harmonious family, working on that. And then we have the ninth sign of Sagittarius in the sixth house, ruled by Jupiter. So working on healing the body and avoiding conflict in her life, avoiding divorce and having stability in relationships. And then now back to that, the Virgo, ruled by Mercury, in the third house, also feeling worthy of having good relationships with siblings. She did not have great relationship with her siblings. Then we have the 11th sign of Aquarius, ruled by Saturn, in the 8th house. So 8th house is working on learning the deeper meanings of life and overcoming vulnerabilities and obstacles. So let's go through each of the planets and see how they're affecting her. Cancer is generally noted as a kapha dosha. Her sun is debilitated and weak, and it is at 10 degrees, ruling, again, that house. Gives her wealth and fame through leading roles. And there was not great support from father, as her parents got divorced at the age of 4. Now, sun has to do with the brain, and so we'll see how that plays out in her health. The moon is weak at 1 degree. Any planet that's less than 5 degrees is said to be an infant state, and infants can't promote or protect their own significations. So Moon is close to the most affected point, so it has a lot of effect in the chart. It's afflicted by Rahu, and it gives her her life purpose through compassion for other people, which she portrays in most of the parts that she plays. Uh, and her Moon is public, so again, her purpose is performing for the public. Now, uh, Moon becomes her prime health significator. And when you have a weak moon, you're susceptible to autoimmune diseases, rheumatoid arthritis, and it's the first house, which is body and the brain. So she had migraines and depression. All of that can be associated with Moon. Then she has a weak, poorly placed Mars. Mars is in the sixth house of health issues, and it's afflicted by Jupiter and Saturn. So this Mars rules her career house, and in one sense, it gives her great courage and passion in playing the roles that she does. So gives her great success in that way. But on the other hand, because it's afflicted, it can cause inflammation to the membranes around the spinal cord and the brain. We have a weak combust. It's very close to within a few degrees of the sun. So any planet that's blocked by the sun becomes weak. And it is ruling the house of success through fine arts, performing arts, and healing arts. And it's placed in the house of happiness and family life. So it connects her happiness with this performing and acting. But Mercury is also associated with the brain, and because it is combust, it can affect the brain and the nerves around the brain, which really is what when those nerves or those membranes are inflamed, this is what caused the spinal meningitis, chronic neck and back pain, and migraines. So we have then functional malefic Jupiter. So any multicona sign that you see in the 6th, 8th, or the 12th house, for a Cancer rising, that becomes Jupiter. Sagittarius ruled by Jupiter in the 6th house, and Aquarius ruled by Saturn in the 8th house. So Jupiter is afflicted by Rahu, and it is gives her the ability to heal others through her performances, but it also causes this issue with illnesses around the spinal meningitis, chronic neck and back pain. Then we have Venus. It's weak because its dispositor, the sun, is debilitated. So the Venus gives happiness through acting and her beauty on one hand, and then on the other hand, it can cause a lack of happiness or depression, which she has experienced. And her depression has mostly been around feeling not good enough or too old to act more recently. She actually says this in some interviews. And then we have functional malefic Saturn. Now, Saturn is ruling the 8th house of chronic illness, and it is placed in the 9th house. 9th house has to do with back and spine, and Saturn itself is spine. So and it also represents nerves. So it's contributed to her spinal meningitis on one sense, and then on the other sense, she utilizes that energy of Saturn to research the roles she plays, her acting roles. And she is a huge supporter of UNICEF, so charity, and Saturn is associated with helping others, as is Jupiter in her chart. Rahu and Ketu are always function malefic. They're at 4 degrees, and they're very close to the most effective point. So that means in the birth chart, they afflict 6 out of the 12 houses. So in this configuration, Rahu and Ketu opposite of each other are always trying to balance home life and career. And I'm sure this may have caused, some of her relationships to not work out. I think she's been divorced a couple times. So Rahu and Ketu afflict the 4th house of happiness and family, so divorce and depression, and the 5th house of chronic back pain, and then the 12th house of depression, the 3rd house of I think it's the 2nd house of, let's see, 3rd house, 2nd house, let's see, second house actually of stability in the marriage, and the 6th house, which can lead to depression. So let's look at the timing of events. In 1977, her dad died during a sun period, sun representing father, and in 87, late 87, probably in December, and you can see this transit chart above there, during a Saturn period, she started feeling this back pain and things that led to the spinal meningitis. So as you can see in the 6th house of illness, she has Sun, Mercury, Moon, and Jupiter all together there. So Jupiter is afflicting all of those planets there. Oh, wait a minute. So Sun in now the outer circle is the transit chart. So we have, so Jupiter is there, and so all of those planets together probably triggered this spinal meningitis. And as well, Rahu and Ketu, not only in the birth chart, but in the transit chart, are afflicting 6 out of the 12 houses, especially that 9th house that has to do with the spine. And so a lot going on there. Now, many of her awards came from during the 90s, late 80s and 90s, early 2000s. Mystic Pizza, Steel Magnolias, Pretty Woman, Notting Hill, etc. And that was all during a Venus period, Venus representing beauty and fine art, performing arts. And then in 91, she got separated from Kiefer Sutherland during a K2 period. So K2 having to do with separation. She got divorced in 95 from Lovett during a Mars period, Mars causing conflict, sitting in the house of divorce. And then 01, she did Aaron Brockovich and also got separated during a Rahu period. Rahu is giving a lot of ambition for her to be successful in her career, and the placement of K2s, being, separated from family because of, always on at work. She had twins in 2004 during a Jupiter period. Jupiter represents children. Then we have a lot of depression in 2013 during a Saturn period. Saturn, having to do with death-like experiences and vulnerability, emotional trauma. Then her sister died of an overdose in 2014, early 2014, during a Mercury period. Mercury is ruling the house of siblings. And also during that period, she Mercury's at the most effective point, and it's transiting this eighth house of death-like experiences during that time when her sister died. And she didn't get along with her sister. I'm sure this didn't help her mental state at the time. So those are the timing of events. As you can see, it's quite accurate. What could we do to strengthen the chart? So you can, take all the benefic planets like Mars, Moon, Sun, Mercury, Venus, and strengthen them with gemstones. Or my favorite remedy is a silver locket called a kavash, a protective shield. You can see them on our website at vastucreations.com. That contains the Devata yantras for all the benefic planets. And then she needs to transform Jupiter, the malefics, Jupiter, Saturn, Rahu, and Ketu, by giving to spiritual organizations. I did not mention that she became a Hindu in her filming in 2009 when she did Eat, Pray, Love, and actually named her children Krishna and other Hindu god names. So that was quite transformational period for her. Also a Venus period, and Venus bringing her great happiness. Transforming Rahu, Ketu, or Ketu and Jupiter by supporting spiritual organizations like the Hindu temples, which he goes to quite often, and then transforming Saturn and Rahu by helping those who cannot help themselves. And she's doing that through the UNICEF organization. So she's already doing the remedies, and that's, bringing her great success in her life, and just strengthening these benefic planets would help her, hopefully, with her illness and depression. Thank you so much for listening. If you're interested in getting a reading, you can go to vastucreations.com. If you want to learn Transformation Vedic Astrology and get certified, you can also go to courses at vastucreations.com. Thank you so much for listening.